different different notification systems, and that's why it lights up. And in that, you watch the scanning numbers. Unlike the 10-meter radio, the second digit to the left, and those are changing so fast you can't hardly see it. But on the split that these frequencies use, each one of those, that second digit there that's changing so fast, each one of those is a separate channel. So as you see that third one changing now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc., each one of those is 10 channels. When it changes from 3 to 4 on the first digit to the right of the decimal, that has scanned through 10 channels. So the 452, the UHF band runs from 420 megahertz to 470 megahertz. So you can see it's about halfway in between or something right now. And somewhere in this area here, I don't remember exactly what the frequency is, but the National Weather Service notification channels are in this area where it's scanning right now. And when it scans across them, you'll hear, you know, the National Weather Service thing. And you can, with this radio, you can tune in, and I forget whether they're VHF or UHF, but you can tune in regular FM radio stations on this radio. You can just tune it in and listen like you would on your car radio. And it covers the Marine Band and several others. Again, if you see military or paramilitary squads operating with radios, these are the kind of radios they're using. They may not be using this exact one, for those of you, I'll leave that right there. For those of you who may be interested enough to want to write this down or whatever, you can see the Yaesu VX7R submersible. This radio will stand 3 feet of water for 30 minutes. Waterproof for 30 minutes. The speaker and the built-in microphone, which is, let me see if I can show it to you. It's just a tiny little hole. Right there, below that screw. Now it's fuzzing out on me a little bit here, but that is the microphone. It and the speaker is in that grill. The whole inside of this radio is sealed with gaskets and has a clear membrane that covers all of that. Now, a lot of people say that when they hear other people talking on a radio, that on one of these types of radios, that sometimes the voice doesn't sound real good. So it's partly because of that clear membrane covering the microphone to protect it in case you drop it in water. Now, what some people will do, they'll take the cover off and they'll puncture or cut a hole in the membrane over the microphone to make their vocals sound a little better, to make the voice sound a little better. Well, I don't know. I think I would rather try to live with it the way it is, and most of us, I know for me, are not going to be using a radio like this just to chit chat on. And this radio again, this is excellent for group operations. I don't know how else to say it, you know, but if you've got a group of people, several people, and you're wanting to go out in the desert and you want to watch for illegal aliens crossing the border, this is what you use to communicate with each other with. It has excellent range by itself, and there are what's called repeater stations. And if you get one of these radios, get into this, you can look them up and you can find a map that shows all the repeater stations, well, all of them that they know of. It will show the repeater stations in your area. If you access, and a repeater station is just somebody or group who has a repeater station set up, usually with a big antenna. And when you access their repeater station, their radio picks up your transmission and rebroadcasts it over their big antenna with their maybe 5,000 watt amplifier or whatever. So you have the potential with these also to communicate over many, many miles. And I think, at least in the right circumstances, this little radio just on its own may give you as much as 20 miles of communication. And so you can see that it wouldn't necessarily be the best thing to have for me trying to communicate with somebody in Washington State or whatever. But again, it's a very versatile radio, and in your local area, if you can afford these, then, you know, within maybe 20 miles, you may be able to talk to each other, especially with the repeater stations. Now, this radio, I don't know offhand if Yaesu has an even newer model. This model is just a few years old, maybe 3 or 4 years old, I think. You can still buy them new. They do have a VX8R, and the 8R has a built-in GPS system. Now, opinion, if I had a radio with a GPS in it, unless I have reason to think that I may end up being lost somewhere or falling down in the canyon, I don't want the GPS on. If you have a GPS turned on so you know where you're at, well, they know where you're at too, if you get my drift. So if I had a radio, the 8R or whatever, if I had one of these radios with a GPS in it, I would probably have it disabled most of the time, because I don't want anybody to know where I'm at. And so I like this radio. Now back to the price. This radio, brand new, I'm trying to remember, is probably $300 or $400. You may get lucky and get this model slightly used on eBay for maybe $150. I was watching some the other day, and I think they were, sometimes they still sell for a couple $100 used. So it's not exactly cheap. And the other radio I was talking about, the very first one, the Ranger 2950, that radio I paid almost $300 for in the early 90s. And I don't know if they even still make them. But any of this type of equipment is going to be a little expensive. But now let me back off, since I had to take it off to get far enough away from the radio for you to be able to see the scan. That is the throat mic system, which actually this throat mic, it works on push to talk, but the throat mic on this, which is, they call it the VOX, voice activated, doesn't actually work with this radio. I use it for the PTT, the push to talk, which means you on this, there's a button on that you push to talk, and there are all sorts of headsets you can get. You can get different ones. You can get throat mics. Some of them have a little button that velcros around your finger, and you can just push it with your thumb, which is kind of handy if you're, say, holding a rifle or whatever, you know. You get into these things, and then you can look at all the accessories and everything that come with them. That is the earpiece, and this velcros around your neck. I guess it helps to turn it right. You can reverse this. I have it set up for the earpiece to go in my left ear, but you can turn it around. There you go. These are the pickups that pick up your voice through your neck, through your throat. Now I'm debating if there's anything else I want to try to get into on these. Probably not for the minute. This tape is going to be long. It's already 40 minutes, and I don't even know what the if I upload this to YouTube, I don't know if they have a limitation or not. But hopefully this has been helpful to an extent. And we can go into other things again. You know, we can talk about these things or whatever, maybe on the forum, and hash things around. I've done this with local people who had the same issues that we're all entertaining. But for now, I think I'll just shut this down. I will mention one thing, just in case anybody gets a CB and goes to hook it up. On a CB radio, any of the radios that requires an antenna, do not turn the radio on and press the microphone button unless you have an antenna hooked up. You may get lucky and it may not hurt anything, but if you push your transmit button without an antenna hooked up, you can damage your radio. This unit here, you can see it has the little short whip antenna, and you can connect this to a large antenna too. Again, you know, just very versatile. But I hope this has been helpful some, and maybe if I do this again, maybe I can be a little better at it or something, but we'll see. So we'll talk